Imagine this. The year is 186 before the Common Era. You're a Roman father. Wealthy, powerful, respected. You've arranged the perfect marriage for your daughter. The alliance is strong. The dowry generous. The future secure. She's 16 years old. Educated. Obedient. Trained in every virtue a Roman bride should possess. Modesty. Duty. Silence. The wedding day arrives. The ceremony is flawless. Prayers recited. Omen favorable. The feast magnificent. Your daughter smiles at exactly the right moments, performing happiness the way she's been taught. Then, when the celebration ends, something else begins. Something no one speaks about. Something every Roman family knows exists but pretends not to see. Your daughter is led away for the final ritual. As she's taken from the hall, she turns back once. Her eyes meet yours. There's a question there, unspoken but unmistakable. You look away, not because you don't love her, but because you know what's about to happen and you cannot stop it. What I'm about to reveal isn't fantasy. This comes from legal documents, archaeological evidence, and ancient writers who hinted at truths they couldn't name. Rome didn't just allow this. Rome made it sacred, made it law, made it impossible to resist. Drop a comment right now and tell me, would you have stayed silent to protect your family, or would you have fought a system designed to crush anyone who resisted? Welcome to ancient grim history. Stick around until the end, because I'm going to reveal the one woman who stood in the Roman Forum and publicly exposed this practice. Her name was erased, but her words survived, carved into stone. Under Roman law, marriage was a transfer of property. A woman passed from her father's authority to her husband's. They called this manus, the hand. One man's hand to another. But that transfer couldn't happen automatically. Roman legal texts make it clear. Before a woman could become a wife, she had to be purified. Purification. That word appears again and again. This wasn't symbolic ritual with incense and prayers. This was a physical act, overseen by priests, described as guardians of divine will. The most prominent were connected to Bona Dea, the good goddess. Her rites focused on fertility and household protection. Her rites were secret, legally protected. Anyone who revealed what happened could be charged with impiety and face exile or execution. Roman religion operated on exchange. You give to the gods, they grant favor. But the offering wasn't wine or grain. It was the bride herself. Before a woman belonged to her husband, she had to first belong to the gods. And the gods, according to the priests, required proof. Imagine, you're 16, raised to believe marriage is your highest duty. You know obedience. You know silence. What you don't know is that before your husband can touch you, someone else will. And it's called sacred. If you think histories like this deserve to be remembered, hit that like button and subscribe to Ancient Grim History. Because what they found beneath Rome's temples will prove this wasn't myth. Across Rome, archaeologists uncovered underground chambers beneath temples. Not burial crypts, not storage. Stone platforms shaped like beds. Channels cut for liquid drainage. Heavy doors that lock from the outside. In 2003, excavations beneath a Bona Dea temple on the Aventine Hill revealed one chamber in preserved condition. The most disturbing feature wasn't the architecture. It was the writing. Hundreds of names carved into walls. All female, many with dates. When researchers compared those dates with surviving records, they aligned with Roman wedding celebrations. British archaeologist Catherine Johns spent 3 years documenting it. Her conclusion: these inscriptions recorded women who underwent a ritual connected to marriage eligibility. The nature of the ritual was not explicitly stated. That phrase appears constantly in academic writing. It signals restraint, not ignorance. After the public wedding, the bride wasn't taken home. Her husband was excluded. Female attendants escorted her to the temple. She was led downward, away from light, into cold air, into a chamber beneath the city. Fragments survive. Plautus, writing in the 2nd century before the Common Era, alluded to such rites in a censored comedy. One fragment. The gods take their portion before any man. Another asks what the bride receives. The answer? Purification if she survives it. That line was later removed. Lucretius refers to Bona Dea's rites in unusually direct language. His words survive in only one manuscript. They call these rites sacred, but they are terror. What the priest claims to offer the gods, he takes for himself, and the law shelters the theft by naming it divine. You're the father. You know this exists. You know your daughter will undergo it. You do nothing, because refusing means defying religion, law, tradition. Tradition in Rome was inevitable. Drop a comment. Do you think most Roman fathers knew exactly what was happening, or did they choose willful ignorance? The real power wasn't force. It was silence. Roman women who underwent sacred rites were legally forbidden from speaking. Certain ceremonies were mysteria, protected by secrecy statutes. To reveal them was impiety. Lex Voconia, passed in 169 before the Common Era, included provisions on religious disclosure. Women who revealed sacred rites could be charged with impiety, facing exile, property seizure, or death. The victims were silenced. The perpetrators called it sacred. The men recording history were beneficiaries. When speech is forbidden, people find other ways to leave evidence. In the 1920s, archaeologists in Pompeii uncovered a sealed chamber, not closed by ash, deliberately bricked up before the eruption. Inside was a fresco, a conventional wedding scene, bridegroom, guests, but in the background, partially obscured, another scene. A woman led downward by robed figures, her body angled away, her head turned back, one arm reaching toward a man not following. The archaeologist noted the hidden figure's face, barely visible, was painted with greater precision than the bride at center. Someone wanted that face seen. They couldn't describe the ritual. Illegal. But they could paint it. Hide it. Hope someone would understand. That's documentation. Resistance without words. After the ritual, the bride returned to the celebration. Hours later, sometimes a day, she wore a veil called the flammeum, thick and brightly colored. The unusual part? The veil was never removed. Not during the feast. Not during procession. Not during consummation. Scholars called it modesty. Roman medical literature suggests otherwise. Serenus, writing in the 2nd century Common Era, noted newly married brides often showed signs of trauma. His advice? The veil serves double purpose. It preserves modesty and prevents the husband observing signs of the purification rite, which might provoke improper questions. The veil didn't symbolize virtue. It concealed evidence. The bride couldn't speak. Illegal. The husband was discouraged from noticing. Custom. Distress explained as nervousness. The system required compliance. For generations, it worked. If you're still watching, subscribe to Ancient Grim History, because we're reaching the moment one woman nearly brought the system down. In 186 before the Common Era, it nearly collapsed. Hispalophocenia went before consuls describing abuses within the Bacchanalia, secret religious rites. Her testimony described underground chambers, violence under religious authority, victims bound by silence. The Senate reacted with shock. Priests arrested, rites banned, thousands punished. But during investigation, several women tried testifying about marriage purification rituals. Rites connected to Roman tradition. The Senate refused to hear them. Consul Spurius Postumius dismissed them. The Bacchanalia are foreign corruptions. The rites of Bona Dea are Roman tradition. We do not investigate tradition. Those words are the backbone of every system surviving abuse. Call it tradition, and it becomes untouchable. Women who tried testifying were warned. Most complied. One did not. Her name doesn't survive. She stood in the forum and publicly described what happened beneath the temple. Within hours, arrested. Charged with impiety. Exiled to Sicily. forbidden from returning, forbidden from speaking to Romans. She disappears from record. But not everything disappears. In 1964, archaeologists discovered graffiti near the Forum, dating to approximately 180 before the Common Era, just after the Bacchanalia scandal. It reads, "Tradition is what monsters call their crimes when no one stops them. Someone carved that at the center of Roman power. Someone risked everything. Rome couldn't erase it. The ritual evolved. By late 1st century before the Common Era, elite families found ways around it. Instead of submitting daughters, they paid for symbolic ceremonies. Rituals without chambers. Without contact. Priests accepted substitutions. This was never about religion. It was about power. Once wealth bought exemption, the system became obvious. Among elites, it faded. Among the poor, it continued. They couldn't afford alternatives. Juvenal, writing around 100 Common Era, noted, "The poor still offer their daughters to the old gods. The rich offer gold instead." It didn't end because Rome recognized it as wrong. It weakened because participation became optional for the powerful. Was Rome actually civilized, or just better at hiding atrocities behind legal language? Drop your thoughts, because this'll spark debate. For centuries, scholars minimized these accounts. Evidence fragmentary. Sources unreliable. They did everything except confront the pattern. Why? Acknowledging this forces an uncomfortable conclusion. Rome, praised as civilization's foundation, embedded coercion into rituals presented as sacred and lawful. Chambers exist beneath temples. Inscriptions exist. Names carved by women who left no other testimony. Legal language exists, vague but persistent. Literary references exist, censored but consistent. Together, they form a pattern. In 2018, a research team at the American Academy in Rome reviewed evidence on premarital purification rituals. Their conclusion: the evidence strongly suggests certain purification rites involve coercive acts under religious authority, reinforced by structures preventing resistance or accountability. Academic language. Plainly, this happened. The system protected itself. But this is also about resistance. Quiet, dangerous, easily erased, but real. The woman who spoke in the Forum. She wasn't saved, but refused to pretend. The artist who painted the hidden fresco, trusting someone would see it. The person who carved that sentence into stone. Families who chose their daughter's safety over obedience. They documented it. Left traces. Those traces survived Rome's power. Systems of abuse rarely collapse because everyone agrees they're wrong. They collapse because enough people refuse to participate. Enough people withdraw consent. Enough people decide tradition doesn't excuse cruelty. You can stand in Rome today and see temple remains. Broken columns. Scattered stone. Tourists pass without stopping. But beneath, the chambers remain. On the walls, names are still there. Julia, Cornelia, Flavia, Fulvia. Women whose fathers brought them. Women who underwent rituals they couldn't describe. Women who couldn't testify, couldn't accuse, couldn't refuse. So they carved their names. Not rebellion. Not protest. Proof of existence. I was here. This happened to me. They left those words, trusting someone would understand what they couldn't say. We found them. We understand. We refuse to let Rome's version be the only one surviving. If this exposed something you were never taught, subscribe to Ancient Grim History and turn on notifications. This channel uncovers what powerful institutions tried to erase. Ask yourself this: how many other traditions across history functioned the same way? How many customs we call sacred were actually control systems? How many names are still hidden in sealed rooms, waiting to be noticed? The Roman marriage purification ritual isn't unique. It's a pattern. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Drop a comment telling me what other historical practices deserve this examination, because Rome wasn't the only civilization hiding darkness behind tradition. Thanks for watching Ancient Grim History. The past wasn't pretty, but it deserves to be remembered. I'll see you in the next one.